Welcome to another edition of Journey of Hope. Stories of people who share their journey seeking wholeness and happiness and health. Our special guests today are from Redlands, California, Wendy and Abby, two ambassadors for Jesus. They've got a thrilling story to share. So good to have you here, Wendy and Abby, and we're going to learn about the journey that you've been on. But why don't we start off with you, Wendy, and tell us where you're from.
Originally, I'm from Minnesota.
Okay.
But we've made our home in Redlands for the last, I've been here almost 25 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been associated with Loma. You went to school here and
I did.
Graduated with what?
I graduated from the School of Physical Therapy, and then I've had several different jobs since then. But currently, I'm working at Loma again in inpatient rehab.
Inpatient rehab.
Mm-hmm.
And Wendy, tell us a little bit. Abby, tell us a little bit about you. You're how old?
I'm 11 years old.
And you're in what grade?
I'm in 6th grade.
6th grade. Now, tell us what you have.
I have a form of muscular dystrophy. It's called Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease. But there's actually 43 different types of it, or of muscular dystrophy.
43 different kinds. I didn't realize that. So I want to find out, when did we find out that you had this? And we'll talk to Mom here. And Wendy, I knew you before right after you got married.
Yeah.
And actually before you got married. Mm-hmm. So tell us, you got married, and you and Joel, everything's going fine. Then you have this long expected, lovely little girl that's born. And tell us what happened.
Well, I had a pretty normal pregnancy as far as pregnancies go. And she was born right on time, and I had a C-section, and everything was great. And, within the first few months, we noticed that she was a little low tone, little floppy. And,
you see a little floppy, they couldn't...
Yeah, low tone, just,
didn't have the control.
Wasn't quite as firm,
okay.
and couldn't hold things together, when comparing to other infants. But, being a physical therapist, I also know that there's a wide range of normal.
Sure.
And of course, you never want to think that there's anything not right with your own child either.
Sure.
And
are you talking about within the first couple of months?
Yeah, we noticed probably for sure by 6 months. I mean, as things went on, she was a little behind with her milestones, but she would always catch up. She was very bright and alert, and so. In that area, nothing, triggered us.
Nothing alarming.
No, not at all. There was, some reflexes, some normal developmental reflexes that weren't quite integrating on time and things like that. So it was kind of like we were just watching things.
Sure.
And then, when she got to be about a year, you kind of have like one of those little aha moments, and she was, I remember vividly, she was pulling up on the dishwasher, and the way that she did it, and I'm sure that I'd seen it how many times before, but the way she did it, it's like, she's not going to get this on her own. She's compensating too much. She's using muscles that she shouldn't be using to have to pull up.
Recognizing this.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All of a sudden it became obvious to you.
Yeah, and not that we hadn't seen some things before, but it just really hit me. So I got in touch with a couple different people and friends that were pediatric PTs, and so we went and they did a consult, a couple different ones, and both thought she'll catch up. We just need to start some therapy and get her caught up, and no big deal kind of thing. But at the same time, we were talking to our pediatrician too, and we said, let's start some testing, and he was actually a personal friend of ours too, and so he was really open to doing that, and because a lot of times they don't start testing until they're 2 at least, and she was only 15 months. So we started testing, and that was kind of
trying to determine what's really going on.
like what is it?
Sure.
And probably it took a good a year or more, just testing, and nothing really was getting pulled together, and really having medical background too. I mean, I knew a lot of things that it wasn't, for sure. but yet there's so many other things out there.
You're ruling it out, at least in your
Absolutely,
thinking. Yeah.
absolutely. And then we kept hearing Dr. Ashwell's name. He's a pediatric neurologist at Loma Linda. And so we said, you know what, let's just go outside of our insurance and go see him and see what he has to say. And really, that was a huge turning point in our lives. I mean, that was a big God moment
A real
for us.
breakthrough. And
it was.
You call it a what?
It was a God moment.
It was a God moment.
It was.
Okay,
Absolutely.
God intervening.
Absolutely. And, you know, he narrowed it down in an hour to 3 things. I mean, we found out more in an hour than we had in a year.
Really?
And, you know, when we did more research, you know, on the specifics, they actually all were different muscular dystrophies. But, you know, when I did more research on the specific ones, I pretty much knew, you know,
Now, Abby,
which
you were
one.
telling me, how many different kinds are there?
There's 43 different kinds, but
43.
under that, there's a lot of different things underneath all those 43.
A lot of little sub
Yeah.
things, then, okay.
Yeah.
So you had it kind of narrowed down, and
Yeah.
and within 2 or 3, you kind of thought this is
Yeah.
what you had.
Yeah.
So how does this how does this hit you at this point? I mean, you got your little girl, and you got dreams and hopes, and all of a sudden you're finding out that she has this diagnosis.
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting because I would have thought that you know, earlier on than it was, I would have wanted to know more information. You know, because I'm the kind of person that wants to know
Now.
Yeah, what's the deal and how can I deal with it, and the more information, the better, and you
Sure.
can make better decisions. But you know,
Looking
again,
back now.
yeah, and you know, now I see how God was just so good to us, and that He gave us, you know, little bits of information at a time.
As much as you could handle at that point.
Absolutely. You know, and I think really, you know, that first, we found out kind of over a weekend, and I think there were 24 hours that were kind of rough, you know, and I
Only
remember.
24 hours, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to say, I mean, as I was looking up more specifics on her diagnosis, they gave her the diagnosis of congenital hypomyelinating neuropathy.
Well, that's
which
a mouthful right
it
there.
is, which, you know, they classified as Desjardins-Sotos, and since then, since more research has been done, they've classified it under Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease,
Which is a specific type of
right, a
muscular
peripheral
disorder.
neuropathy,
Okay.
right? But you know, as I was looking up things, that was 8 years ago, and there wasn't that much information on it. And you know, I remember very vividly just scouring things on the internet and then, you know, reading that it wasn't fatal. You know, and I can't even tell you. I mean, that was
Because there are some types that are,
many.
many of them are
Yeah,
fatal.
many.
And you finally came to the conclusion that this one was not
Yeah.
fatal.
And you know,
So
I
that
mean,
was a great breakthrough.
huge relief. Yeah. And as I read on, you know, there were, you know, not some of the greatest news. I mean, it said she could have a regression in her 20s or 30s, and I think that's really when fear kind of took over.
Sure.
You know, and that's where, you know, that unrest, you know, came, and kind of a little panicky, and that's, you know, that was in that 24 hours. But I
All
mean,
within that 24-hour period.
yeah, but I have to tell you, I mean, in that time, I mean, right after that, God just gave me this overwhelming peace, you know, the kind that passes all understanding, you know, that I don't think we really get until you're right in it.
Until you experience
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And really, I didn't hear an audible voice, but I really heard in my spirit that He was just saying, "Don't worry, Wendy, don't worry.
She's my
She's
child.
mine. I love her more than you do," you know, which is really, you know,
Yeah.
so hard for us to get,
Right.
you know, and that, you know, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so don't worry.
Well, take
I've got
care
it. I got
today.
it covered, you know, and I may even come back before then. I mean, don't worry.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I mean, that was a huge turning point, and I'm so grateful that I only had 24 hours of not so nice,
Now,
you know?
Joel, as your husband,
Mm-hmm.
where was he in all of this?
Pretty close.
Really?
To that too.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
within a 24-hour period of time, this overwhelming
Yeah.
sense of peace and confidence that,
Yeah.
you know, the Lord's in control here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you don't know any of this is going on because you're pretty young at that point. So tell me what you're doing now, because I think our listening audience needs to know that there's something very, very special about you.
Well, I'm the National Goodwill Ambassador for the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
The national. Wow. Not the state, but the national.
This is my 3rd year, and the 2 years before that I was the California State Goodwill Ambassador.
Really?
But they just asked me to do the 4th year.
They did. Have they ever asked anybody to do 4 years before?
No.
I knew it. Something very special about you. Have you ever heard of Jerry Lewis?
Yeah, he's really nice, and now he's one of my friends.
He's one of your friends. Well, he used to be one of my favorite actors years and years and years and years ago. Well, so what are some of the things you do now? You're in school. Do you have a hard time in school?
Well, we're like learning-wise, no, but like during recess and PE and things like that, I'm behind and have to sit out. But I do as much as I can, and I keep trying.
That's an important thing for our listening audience. You keep doing what?
I keep trying.
You keep trying, and it's that spirit that kind of moves you ahead. So you say you get behind. I don't know that you really, what you're saying is you can't participate in all the things they do at recess.
But I try.
But you try. Give me an example. What kind of things do you try to do?
Like, whenever somebody's running, I'm always behind, left behind. Hey, wait for me.
Well, so have you had these braces for quite a while?
Well, we've gone through lots of pairs and lots of different kinds.
So these are
of
new
braces.
ones, but you've had braces for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
Then. Yeah. All right. So what other kind of things do you do during recess?
Well, when it's this hot, just sit and...
Yeah, well, it's hot, and that's right now. It's been really, really hot. So what is your favorite classes in school?
I really like math.
Do you? You good in math?
Am I good in math?
You are.
I'll bet you, if you like it, I bet you are. So tell me some of the things you're doing as being a national representative and a national ambassador.
Well, I travel around the country.
Around the country?
And thanking sponsors for helping MDA, because some of them raise millions and millions of dollars for MDA.
Wow.
And I help raise awareness and say thank you and raise some more money.
So you're just kind of you're an ambassador for them, aren't you then? And were you in there? They just recently had a telethon. Did you have anything to do with
Labor
that?
Day.
Labor Day. Were you? I thought I saw you on television.
I was on that this year a few
Were
times.
you?
This is the 5th year that we've been
a
on
part of
this.
it? Okay.
So
do you go around and do you speak in behalf of?
I speak and I sing and.
Okay, and we're going to hear you sing in a little while later. But what are some of the other things you do? I mean, what do you do at school? Do you do anything as an ambassador at school?
Well, I try to tell my friends I try to help them understand about my disease, and
how do the other kids relate to it?
well, I'm not sure they completely understand, but I don't think they'll understand until they have something or until they
themselves have something. You really understand it.
can relate to it.
I mean, is it awkward for them, for some of them, or do they make fun, or?
No, I don't think so.
You don't feel like that?
Because they like me.
Well, I'm sure. Why wouldn't they like you? All right. Why wouldn't they like you? So, tell me some of the things that you've been doing, Wendy. She's in school and has a travel schedule. I mean, how is this all working out? I mean,
You know, that's another God thing, you know, because I think as we look back on our lives too, you know, we see how God really just opened up the possibility of us doing this. I mean, with Joel's job and with my job, the flexibility in it, you know, with the school that she's at, you know, there's kind of no accident how it all just lined up to do it.
But it's so good to be able to look back and know that God's been opening the doors.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the case, you know, with her life from the very beginning. I mean, we had her anointed when she was just little, you know, and she was probably, it was probably right after she was diagnosed, so probably be about 3 years old. And, you know, we prayed for healing, you know, and we prayed for every part of her, you know, that, you know, and that God would use her. And you know, he just has been so faithful and is not disappointed one
Okay,
bit.
now that's very important. He's been so faithful, has not disappointed. You prayed for healing, and how did God hear that prayer?
Well, you know, we believe for healing every day. And, you know,
Say it again.
we believe for healing every day.
Okay.
You know, and I think sometimes God gives us instantaneous healings, and I think sometimes He heals over time. You know, and you know, every milestone that she hits, everything, every new thing that she's able to do, we just thank God for it.
That's a part of the healing.
Absolutely.
A part of the healing process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's totally how we look at it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, everything that's come along in the process of that, and you know, I mean, there's that verse that says, you know, what the devil means to harm you with, God means for good. You know, and you know, it could have devastated us. You know, and really,
it has for some people. It has devastated them.
Well, and I think too, I mean, for me, I know that there's things that are a lot worse. You know, I mean, I see it every day in my work.
Yeah.
You know, and we see it as we travel and we meet people with many different kinds of dystrophies, and you know, and people that we know, if we don't find a cure soon, they're going to die. You know, and so, I mean, for us, it's like we just don't feel like we have a sad story, but we do feel like we have a big responsibility.
Okay, and you have a big responsibility. You have a responsibility, and God is using you in wonderful, wonderful ways. Have you met some other kids? I mean, when you're around traveling, do you meet other kids that have the same?
Oh yeah, and a lot of my friends, they have a disease that's fatal. So we need to raise money quick, because it doesn't matter to me if we find mine right away, but I just want my friends to be able to see how it is.
This last year, and that we're in a down economy, but I heard somebody was telling me, and it might have been you, how much money they raised during this last year.
They raised $58.9 million.
$58.9 million. And last year, what did they raise? You remember?
I think a little over 60.
It was a little over 60. So even in a down economy, that's a wonderful, wonderful. And you know, you think of the hundreds of thousands of people that are being impacted as this money comes in, then it goes for available research. And what I'm hearing you saying, it doesn't really matter. It's not as important that they find your particular cure, but they do find cures for other kids.
Because if they find a cure for one of them, they're all kind of connected in some way. So
a breakthrough in one area may lead to a breakthrough in another area. Okay. Now, how does some of the different diseases, there's 43, I didn't realize there are 43. I mean, are there some different symptoms? I mean, how does it incapacitate some more than others? Or?
Yeah, many are wheelchair bound. You know, many, you know, their breathing is affected and their, you know, autonomic system's affected. And, but they all have to do with muscle wasting. You know, so whether or not, you know, they can live in that state for, you know, for how long, or if they have a rapid regression, you know, or like Abby, you know, I mean, we see her getting stronger, you know, and so, you know, there's a wide range.
Okay.
But I think the reason that we're so passionate about it is that, you know, if we can travel. I mean, we can go around and raise
other than
awareness.
wearing your braces and being a little bit slow in the races, it sounds like she's doing remarkably well.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, yeah. And there are other activities you're taking part in at school, I'm sure.
I do as much as I can.
Yeah. How about the water? Are you able to get in the water at all?
Oh yeah, I love to swim.
You swim?
I love to swim.
Really?
I think I swim so much better. Like, you wouldn't even know I had it.
Really?
In the water,
So you get a little buoyant in the water and you're able to
She's a good
swim?
swimmer. Very good swimmer.
No kidding. I would not have guessed.
You can't. I don't think you can tell.
Once you're in the water, you're just kind of like everybody else then. Okay. So tell me some of the things that you do.
Well, when I'm not traveling or in school or stuff, I really love to read.
So yeah?
And so I actually just did a readathon for MDA because I
Now,
want to.
what is a readathon?
Well, I take pledges for how many books I read.
You gotta be
Funny.
kidding. No. Are you up in front of television then? Is that what a readathon is?
Well, I've done this for the past 2 years. It's for I made up my own rules because
Oh, that's good. I like to make up my own. You get your own rules.
So it's for 6 weeks. All the books have to be over 100 pages. Because, no picture books, no stuff that you can read in 2 seconds.
Want to be fair, right?
That's unfair. So you
So-
make your own rules. They have to be over 100 pages. No, not a lot of pictures.
Yeah, so.
What else?
So last year, I don't think people knew how much I could read. So they pledged a lot. So guess how many books I read last year?
Oh, is it for a whole year that the marathon?
Just 6 weeks.
For 6 weeks.
6
And
weeks.
so you had a 6-week period of time.
And
And how many books did you read? 6 weeks. Let me see, 6 weeks. Well, if you read one a day, that'd be 36 books. That's quite a bit right there.
35.
You read 35 books? Oh, a book a day. Almost.
about.
Yeah,
This-
almost a book a day.
This year.
Tell them how much you raised last year.
Last year I raised $5,385.
Just from the readathon?
The year before that, we didn't even think of readathon, and then I just raised $320. But
The first year.
the first year.
Yeah.
But this year I read 50 books.
So is that already over?
This is this summer,
Yeah, so this summer you read in 6 weeks,
all over 100 pages.
and all of them are over 100 pages. What kind of stories, what kind of books do you read?
Anything. I like mystery, adventure.
Mystery and adventure. How about any biographies?
No, not really.
50 books, that's a lot of books.
Yeah, I had trouble finding them.
I can imagine. Trying to find books that are not 200 pages, but they're less
Oh,
than
no. Some of them were, I bet the average was about 175.
175 pages?
Just an average. Because there were some that were like 101 pages, and there were some that were like 300 and something
Well,
pages.
good for you.
So I raised, get ready,
I'm
it's
ready.
gonna, yeah,
I'm ready.
$20,555.
What? For the reading of the 50 books?
Uh-huh.
Congratulations. I need to shake your hand on that one. Man, that is amazing.
Thanks.
So math is your favorite subject, but I can see reading is, it's got to be a
I
close
love
second.
to read.
Yeah.
I love to sing, read, swim, all that kind of stuff.
How about writing? Are you doing any writing yet? Just in,
Me too.
Wow,
I
I
do.
see our time has already slipped by here. We've got a song we're going to have you sing,
Okay.
and I think we better sing right now. I had no idea the time had slipped by.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
So I'm going to sing a song called For Good, and it's from my favorite play, Wicked.
Okay.
I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun,
like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? Because I knew you. I have been changed for good. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made from what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a sky bird in the distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I have been changed for the better. Because I knew you, because I knew you, because I knew you, I have been changed for good.
You did a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you. You engaged me and I forgot all about the time. Great job.
Thank you.
I can't believe 50 books.